think we're getting great looks. I think, but it also could be teams giving us great looks. I mean, if you be completely honest, we're not a team that's constructed of great shooting. And that's just the truth of the matter is, it's not like, we're sitting here with a lot of lasers on our team.
On July 6, 2019, the Los Angeles Lakers pulled the trigger on a blockbuster trade, sending Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Brandon Ingram, DeAndre Hunter, who was the 4th pick in the 2019 draft, a 2022 first-round pick, which became Dyson Daniels, a 2023 first-round pick, and a 2024 first-round pick sent to the New Orleans Pelicans in exchange for superstar big man Anthony Davis, which, despite it being 4 first-round draft picks and 3 young players, it didn't seem like an overpay. Anthony Davis at that time of the trade was a perennial all-star just entering his prime, one of, if not the best two-way players in the NBA, an incredible scorer, rebounder, and shot blocker, and even a big who had slowly started to develop his outside game. For a top 10 player in the league, that's kind of the going rate when making that kind of a trade. And although the trade did in fact bring the Lakers a championship, albeit a championship in the bubble with no fans and on a neutral court, this trade has now set the Lakers back for years to come, with likely nowhere to go but remaining in basketball purgatory of perpetual mediocrity. A franchise so iconic, so legendary, could find themselves scraping to even get into the playoffs for years to come, and we'll be talking about why that is in today's video. If you're new to the channel and you enjoy the content, I would very much appreciate your support in subscribing to the channel, as this is a brand new one and you all know it's hard getting a channel kickstarted when there are such few subscribers and views. In return, I'll be delivering NBA content all season long, and we'll be taking your suggestions on video topics for the future, so let me know in the comments. Now, when the Lakers brought in LeBron James as a free agent back in 2018, this was thought to be franchise altering for the Lakers that had struggled to reach the playoffs really ever since Kobe Bryant started declining. For 5 straight seasons, they sat near the bottom of the West and stacked lottery picks, 3 number 2 picks to be exact, which they used to draft D'Angelo Russell, Brandon Ingram, and Lonzo Ball. But despite bringing in arguably the greatest player in the NBA at that time, a player who had just gone to 8 straight finals appearances, the Lakers still failed to reach the playoffs, making it 6 straight years being lottery bound. The Lakers knew they had to do something, otherwise they were just wasting the last prime years of LeBron James' career. Pushing all of their chips to get Anthony Davis was that move, even if it meant mortgaging their future. And it paid off, right? They won a championship. LeBron got his 4th title, further cementing his legacy as one of the greatest players of all time, and the franchise adding yet another banner up in the rafters, the most in NBA history. But after that bubble run, things never really looked up from there. In fact, it started going downhill quickly. Anthony Davis, the critical piece to help maximize the remaining years of LeBron James, continued getting hurt, as was typical when he was with the Pelicans as well. LeBron himself experienced injuries of his own, something that had never really been the case in his entire career. And the injuries aside, the Lakers' depth was average at best, and the chemistry and overall fit on that team completely changed in a matter of 1 season. Lakers were eliminated from the playoffs the following year after the bubble and failed to even make the play-in entirely the following season after that, going 33-49 in an absolute free fall towards the end of the season. So where do the Lakers go from here? A team that has 2 superstars, one of the greatest players to ever play the game, and a fan base that expects nothing less than championships. It's what they're used to. Unfortunately though, they're not going to be seeing that for a long time. You see, the challenge the Lakers face now is, even with a healthy LeBron and Anthony Davis, which is always questionable when it comes to AD, but even if they are healthy, this team simply is not good. You heard LeBron say it, they don't have shooting. They turn the ball over at a high rate, and teams are taking advantage of the fact that they cannot shoot. Westbrook, as good as he was in his prime, and still has his moments from time to time, has been an absolute disaster for this team, especially when they had a shot at landing DeMar DeRozan on a cheap deal, which DeRozan even acknowledged when he was on Draymond Green's podcast. He thought it was all but done that he was going to the Lakers before they made that trade for Russ. Thank you, Lakers, for your incompetence coming from a Bulls fan. Anybody could see how Westbrook on that roster was going to be a horrible fit, especially when LeBron has historically had shooters around him. And outside of those guys, The Lakers don't have much of anybody. One of the worst depth charts in the NBA, poor decision makers, not good defense. Bringing in Patrick Beverley doesn't move the needle for them at all. They signed younger free agents that don't add much to their team in Toscano, Troy Brown Jr., Kendrick Nunn, Lonnie Walker. And the thing is, sometimes being bad for a while can pay off in the form of high draft picks and hitting on a future superstar. But the Lakers don't have any of their draft picks for the foreseeable future. You have no way of building for the future when your next draft pick is in 2026 and your best player, your superstar, is going to be 38 this year. Likely not going to be around for a while and will eventually start declining, although we have been saying that about LeBron for years and he's still playing at an elite level. And your other star player, the guy that you traded your whole future for, leaving you void of any draft picks, he can't stay healthy, is entering his 30s, and for some reason has forgotten how to shoot. He almost looks like a shell of the superstar player that they traded for. AD's efficiency rating has dropped dramatically in the last 2 seasons because of his poor shooting, and while yes, he's still an incredible defender, he's not as elite as he once was on that end of the floor. And while yes, Westbrook's contract comes off the books after the season unless they trade him beforehand, which I think is very doubtful because no one is going to take on his expiring deal unless it also comes with draft picks, which the Lakers don't have. Even with his salary coming off the books, who's going to want to come play in LA after the disaster of a team that they have looked like over the last couple seasons? The pitch, of course, is, well, they still have Anthony Davis in his prime. They have him under contract through 2025. I actually think that's an even bigger detriment because of how injury prone he's been. And can you even be confident that after LeBron retires that Anthony Davis is going to lead this team to contention as the number one option? And even if the Lakers come to realize, yeah, Anthony Davis is not going to be that guy, let's try and move on from him if this team continues to underperform, you're not going to be able to move his max contract that he's locked into for the next 3 seasons. That's the challenge you have when you hand out these massive deals to players who have a history of injuries, especially injuries at a young age. You put yourself in a situation where you have a player on an untradeable contract. So, no future draft picks, at least not in the immediate term with all of those going to the Pelicans. No young up-and-coming players to be excited about for the future unless you want to count Austin Reeves or Scottie Pippen Jr. No depth on their bench whatsoever given they let Alex Caruso walk in free agency, yet another thank you to the Lakers. And you traded 2 players who were key role players in their title run in Kyle Kuzma and Contavious Caldwell-Pope. And aside from no draft picks and no up-and-coming young talent, your 2 stars are either aging and nearing retirement or injury prone and already showing signs of decline. That is the perfect recipe in the NBA for a franchise that is going to be a dumpster fire for years to come. And until they fire GM Rob Pelinka, things aren't going to be changing for the Lakers anytime soon. Say what you will about Magic Johnson in his brief stint with the Lakers front office, as he himself made some very questionable decisions, but he got LeBron James to join the Lakers, the best player in the league, joining a lottery team, a rebuilding team. Without LeBron, the Lakers would still be on their long playoff drought and a bottom feeder in the Western Conference. And while last season's head coach Frank Vogel, it was easy to make him the scapegoat for the Lakers' problems and ultimately getting fired after just 3 seasons, anybody, even my own grandmother, could see that last year's senior living roster of the Lakers was going to be a train wreck waiting to happen. And that's not on the coach, that's on the front office. And it's also on the front office for the Lakers, having nothing to build for the future and not doing anything to remain competitive in the NBA. The Lakers are 100% positively screwed and will be for years to come. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you in the next one.